Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm going to call this meeting to order. I am Paul Goldstein. I am the chair of the committee. Obviously, I'm not in the room, so I'm going to quickly turn things over to Andrew Zelter, the co-chair, who's going to actually run the meeting. I think that'll be more efficient, and he does a great job anyway. So let me just do a quick introduction and welcome everybody. Andrew, as I said, is going to be there and be your host tonight. I mean, I'm going to be here, but H. James is the community board staff member who does a great job for us. Thank you. And we really have two guests tonight. Well, more than two. April Krishnan from the City Hall Park Conservancy, and she probably has some other people with her. So I'll let her or Andrew introduce them. And then we're going to have Ranger Jim from National Park Service also joining us tonight. I don't know if he's there yet. So I just wanted to say hello. I'm sure I'll chime in as the meeting goes along, but for now, I'm going to say, Andrew, take it away.
Thanks, Paul. So just one housekeeping item. If you're looking at the agenda, item 3 is not happening tonight. It's been postponed until our May meeting. That's the update on Governor's Island. So with that, why don't we kick off with item number 1, which is an update on progress and upcoming goals from the City Hall Park Conservancy. And April Krishnan is going to lead the conversation.
Great, thank you. Hello, all. Okay, great. So I am April Krishnan, one of the founding board members of City Hall Park Conservancy. And I have a few other board members. Oops. With me over here is Sue Ellen Epstein, Shelly Winkler, and Marion Baldwin. So thank you very much for having us and listening to our brief update. Okay, so the goal is to increase engagement and appreciation of the park, not only through horticultural improvements, but also through sponsoring free programming and rethinking recreation and rest spaces throughout the park. We feel that this is necessary, that our work is necessary because of for a few different factors, one of which is changing demographics downtown, a lot more residents generally, and in particular around the immediate of City Park. We all know the east side of the park, there's a lot more condominiums and residential buildings, and the park could serve the community, not only those immediate neighborhood residents, but the park is very unique in being a nexus for different neighborhoods, right? There's Tribeca, there's Five Eye, there's Two Bridges, and there's Chinatown. And it could really become a center of community and engagement that, it doesn't quite do that yet. It's used heavily, but it's not necessarily a place of connection and community. So that is one of our goals. The other sort of issue or reason that we think it's necessary to improve conditions in the park is sort of the loss of waterfront park access due to the coastal resiliency project, and these interior green spaces will become even more. So who we are a group of 5 founding board members and a couple of key advisors as well. We're all longtime neighborhood residents. And we each have very specific and unique abilities and things that we bring to the table. We've been working very well together 3 or 4 years, and we'll continue to do so. The key to our success and our thinking is collaboration. So we have really invested heavily in building relationships over the past couple of years. Of course, Parks Department is number one on that list. We work very closely with them. There's Teresa Flores on the right, standing with me. The Horticultural Society of New York is a very close partner as well. That's them on the left. We've done a few key planting projects with them and will continue to do so in the future. There's the Public Art Fund we have a good relationship with, and then all of the other green spaces in the neighborhood, the friends groups, the conservancies. We are very committed to building relationships with them, especially as these urban spaces are developing, like Gotham Park. We speak to Ms. Chang frequently to kind of build connections with that new area, that we're aware of the Park Row Alliance and what's going on there. So we feel like these connections are very important for the future. Last,
Can I ask a question?
of course,
What's the relationship between the Conservancy then and the Friends?
and the Friends. That's a good question. So we all sort of met through the Friends group. We all know Skip and work with Skip. We wanted to become a full 501c, which we are now, as of just a few months ago. So the Friends group wasn't really interested in going that route of doing the work to become a 501c3, and we were, which is why we formed. We work with Skip. We do several sort of joint initiatives, but I think we have sort of a larger goal. We want to fundraise from different sources. And so that's the direction that we're going in, but we do work closely with Skip as well. So the other important thing is relationships. Last summer, we put together a community survey. We got about 75 responses, and the point of that was to try to understand how people perceive the park, how they use the park, and ways in which they'd like to see the park improved or more use of the park. So some of the takeaways from that, and this was a longer survey, which I have to send around, but you can see 70% of respondents said that the park is something to pass through. So we're hoping to change that. We're hoping to make the park something, a destination that you go to and then you can appreciate in a variety of different ways. Some of the responses of events and community programs that people said they'd like to see, family programs, more garden or horticulture opportunities for volunteering, art programs, bird watching, and history tours. So our key ideas, our development ideas are really focused around these three topics. The first is initiating long-term horticultural improvements to the park, along with the Parks Department, and these prioritize native, low-maintenance plantings, and add signage for plants, and kind of think about plantings with an eye towards an educational purpose and reaching out to school groups and other neighborhood organizations. This is a group from the second grade at Spruce Street School. Last spring, we were having an event with them. The second topic is sort of key design interventions, which help to increase multiple. So maybe some increased seating options, improving lawn areas so they can be used for other more events and more sort of things, more people using those lawn areas, and perhaps adding pathways to invite people into parts of the park that they might not necessarily go into. The third is creating, continuing our programming for the community. So as we started to flesh out our programming last summer, we were noticing that wayfinding is an issue in the park, particularly since parts of it are broken up and people don't always know where they're going. So we worked with red maps to try to make a more detailed image and map of the park rather than just Google Maps, and sort of show the different areas, their connections, places where you can't walk through the park, City Hall, and starting to think about names for areas that we use frequently, like that northwest corner on Broadway and Chambers Street. You would often meet people there, and it's difficult to explain, the south corner of the northwest side of the park. So we have started to call that the Broadway lawn, And we have, we reseeded it, we fenced off a part of it, reseeded it, the lawn is taking off again. So we're calling that the Broadway lawn, and then the Commons lawn, we are using for the northeast corner right next to that universal pre-K in the ground floor of Tweed. The other areas, are the Fountain Circle, towards the south, and the quadrants down there. We're calling them south quadrants, and the parterre is the planting bed to the south of the fountain. We also called out the gates and the entrances that are not clearly discernible in Google Maps and other maps that you might see. So we're using as a kind of a framework, a jumping off point for starting to think about the master plan or master design for the park, which is still in progress now and very much just some sort of initial ideas. This was an image, a render that we had done by Alessandra, who's another founding board member, Alessandra Galletti. She's a landscape architect. She wasn't able to be here today. But this is just to start thinking about possible improvements. It's important to note that none of this is capital improvements. They're all non-capital improvements. So it's sort of improvements that are using plantings to improve sightlines, improve the perception of safety in the park, movable furniture, light footprint benches or things that could be moved around, and just to find ways to bring people in, to welcome people to have a variety of uses inside the park. This area in particular, the park's shed area, is right sort of straight ahead in the center of the image here, and we're trying to think of ways to improve that view. So maybe it's making a scrim with an artist to kind of cover that, to make it seem more welcoming, to open up that area. This is something that Alessandra also worked on, still very much a work in progress of just challenges for that area. So you have the park's sheds area to the right. There's an area of bad irrigation to the left. You know, that could become a rain garden. Opening up a pathway to make that far corner at Broadway and Cambridge Street more accessible, because it's very isolated right now. But this is just the kind of thing that we are sort of capable of in-house. The parterre is the largest planting bed in the park, right directly south of the fountain. So we did a large planting project with that, with the Hort last summer in that area, and we're going to do another planting initiative with them in May to bring some more native plantings to the parterre, to kind of lower the height of some of the things in there, so that we reinstate the historical sightline from St. Paul's Chapel through to the fountain and then to City Hall itself. So cleaning up and making that a real showpiece of horticulture is something that is a focus of ours. That's just another view of it. Still working on focus areas 3 and 4. Area 3 is the Commons lawn, that area that I was talking about right next to the preschool. It's the northeast side of corner of the park. It's a beautiful lawn area that is very underutilized. A lot of people don't know about it. They don't know that the public can access it. And it also doesn't serve the university pre-K. It's not very well taken care of. There's mulch that gets in the kids' shoes. So that could be an area that can be vastly improved. We're already starting a pollinator garden, pollinator corner there, and that we're building on that.
What do you mean by?
Well, that's still to be determined. So that could be, adding some mulch paths. That could be like putting like the picture of the seating alternatives, benches around the trees. What we're finding is that a lot of the trees have become damaged with dog usage or people touching them. So maybe there's a way to protect the trees by putting a circular bench around it that also seating or something. So that is to be determined, but that's on our list. Things to think about. The southern quadrants have become overused mostly because of dogs. It's become very dusty and kind of a dirt bowl down there. So thinking of how to plant that in a way that helps it to be better recognized as a beautiful area that should be respected. Our free programs, a lot of these we had last year. We're having our second annual Earth Day celebration this Saturday. I hope to see some of you there. The Tai Chi was very successful last year. We're having that again starting at the end of this month. We're hoping to bring yoga to the park, and we're working with Chess New York City, which is a nonprofit chess organization, to utilize the chess tables at the Warren Street pathway.
Are these places like yoga gonna take up space where people walk, or where are you gonna put them?
The yoga we're hoping to do in the northwest, the Broadway lawn, the northwest
On the
corner,
grass?
on the grass, yeah. The Tai Chi, we started off on the northeast corner, where the preschool kids play. It wasn't ideal just for the surface there. We needed a flatter surface. So we have, kind of moved it onto the sidewalk, but, the pathway, but it's been quite successful. And our second Saturday is volunteer gardening, the second Saturday of every month. We're also working with the New York Public Library to do public readings. So our next steps in our organization, now that we're a full nonprofit, we are going to undertake some private fundraising this summer, mostly for horticultural initiatives. We're continuing to make applications to public grant making organizations to underwrite increased programming. And we want to hear kind of advice and feedback on how to go about requesting some public funds as well. And of course, continuing our collaborative work. We'd like to really become an advocate for certain projects and initiatives. We're trying to advocate for better working conditions for the Parks Department employees. That shed area that I mentioned that's near Tweed Courthouse, is not a very good situation for Parks employees. There's no heat in there. So that could become an area that is better for Parks employees, and also an area that can be a gathering place for volunteers to store our tools and to have seedlings. That can be a real little center of activity. We also like to partner with agencies and other organizations to research possibilities of public bathrooms, either in the park or near the park, new water fountains, bike safety. Those are all of the things that we're thinking about and hoping to collaborate with other organizations on. So that is just a brief update on our goals and what we've done so far. We have, hopefully some of you have seen our website. We also have a monthly newsletter, and we're pretty active on Instagram. So thank you very much, and I open it up to any questions.
So just before we go around the table, I think everyone in this committee and the community board would go to comment that the work you do is valuable. Organizations like yourselves that really not just maintain, but bring more vibrancy and life to this park. So we thank you for everything you guys do. And as we go around the room with some questions, I'd like to really get an understanding to help you achieve these goals.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Wendy?
Yeah, I was gonna definitely say that. Thank you so much, because I have that thought often going through that space that it's, it feels like you just need to pass through or sit down and watch the fountain and that's it. And how is the thought process about, using the lawns and going on the grass and, because that's hard for a lot of places. Is that something you seek to do, or?
I mean, we have had a lot of conversations about that. I mean, it started, the dogs kind of decimated that northwest lawn. Our current thinking is that there should be some areas that are maybe permanently pet-free, and that are only used for, other things. Or that that should be one aspect, but then we would like to bring, I think it's a really it's an 8-acre park, but it doesn't feel that way. It doesn't feel that way. And it's the same size as Madison Square. But you can't, people don't really use the lawns. And so we feel like that's key to increasing engagement in the park. and you can get closer. You can have a picnic, and be a kid and play soccer or something. So we do want to encourage that, but we're figuring out what's gonna be the best way. I think that it's gonna be a combination of, fencing, temporary fencing, while we reseed, renovate lawn areas, move that fencing to the next place that we kind of renovate. So I think it's gonna be a combination of that. Yeah, it's under discussion. And I think you're right, it's difficult. And in South area, maybe it's not lawns, but perhaps it's a pathway, through kind of like a rocky, shady garden that is a way for people to interact with the park, but not necessarily, sit on a lawn, because it's pretty shady down there.
Thanks.
Does that answer?
Sure.
When you say south area, is that the area south of City Hall itself?
Yeah.
So that whole area is your purview, north and south of City Hall.
Yeah.
Okay, so, this is a very unique park. It's by City Hall.
Mhm.
A lot happens at City Hall, press conferences, political protests, all sorts of things. And yet nowhere in the park is there any place conducive for that.
Mhm.
When you think of uses, I think that should be one unique use.
Yeah.
You didn't mention that at all.
Yes, I think, you're absolutely right. I mean, that is one of the main kind of uses of the park is people gathering, and they usually tend to gather on the Broadway side, in front of the city building there, and then like go in and then stand at those barriers. And absolutely, you're right. I mean, that's
I was just on one on the Park Grove side.
on the Park Road side. Okay, yeah.
Press conference.
Right, okay. I mean, you're right. I mean, we know that, that's obviously, a big use in the park, and I think that will be part of our thinking throughout any process.
And I think this is something that you could really take advantage of, space that.
Yeah.
You've got all those house members. They want to talk to people.
Mhm.
That's a perfect place for it, but there isn't one in the park.
Yeah, that's true. Something to think about.
Back to the lawns, some of the lawns are fenced off, right about that?
Partially, yeah.
Are there limitations based on safety and what the people allow?
Yeah, there are, and actually, Skip recently was successful, just last week, I think, in getting some of those barriers on the east side of the park, east side of the south area of the park, moved back a little bit. And, that was after many meetings with NYPD and, deputies at City Hall, so it's possible, but it's, yeah, I mean, I think that obviously, a lot of that area where the temporary barricades are will remain barricaded. And it's also thinking about, it's been temporary, like blockades and barricades there for years now. So that also doesn't look good. Is there a way to improve that feeling of temporariness and being blockaded off? Like perhaps it's more plantings, perhaps it's seating that is also a blockade that has some plantings involved in it. So there are different ways of doing that, and we are thinking of that as well.
I think that contributes to a lot, because fences are not welcoming.
Yeah.
And then on to something else, have you considered anything about bikes? Because obviously, like, people illegally bike through there a lot, and there's a lot of talk of how to get rid of that, whether it's Chambers Street or something else.
Yeah.
Is there any consideration about bike traffic?
We did have a meeting with the Department of Transportation maybe 9 months ago, and particularly regarding that Warren Street pathway. So that is a shared pathway. It's shared with pedestrians and bikes, and it's legally shared. It's one of the only places in the entire city that has like a legally shared pathway that obviously does not work very well. They're very resistant to changing that. We think it's an issue, so we have thought, and we did follow up with some ideas for signage, standing signage, temporary bollards, or some sidewalk signage to help improve that situation. It's not good, and it is an issue. So, yes, that's definitely on our
I didn't even know it was legal.
Yeah, I know, it's great. Only, like if you're only supposed to go east on a bike.
Farming full time.
Yeah.
Fine.
Thank you so much, by the way, for this presentation. It's great, and I'm very excited. I have a question about lighting. Have you thought about improved, only because I'm a law come from the beginning. I actually want to go to City Hall Park. I feel like that's perfect, I live right there. The lighting is always dim, and I don't know if that was something that you, I don't know how much use the park gets at night, but I don't know if it's something that you're looking to improve at all.
Yeah, I think we should. I think that's sort of a complicated and expensive endeavor, but we did, a year ago, we did a mapping of the lights that were not working. And, we worked on that most of those have been fixed. Of course, the old gas lights around the fountain, we keep asking for updates on that. Unclear what's happening with that. But other kinds of lighting, there should be more pathway lights. There should be different kinds of innovative lights being used in the park. So yes, that is definitely something I would like to improve and think about. I agree with you. People would like to walk through there at night and they feel a little unsafe.
Joe?
I used to use the southern part from the fountain down. And the last time I was there, I don't know how many years ago, the benches need improvement and the pathways need to be cleaned.
Yeah.
The flowers were pretty good at the time.
Yeah. Yes, we've been looking into options for power washing the benches. The Parks Department doesn't want them painted. That was an option that we had put forward at one point. They don't necessarily want them painted, but I agree with you, like they need to be improved, and the bluestone that's one of the number one issues that people talk to us about. Parks Department did do a cost proposal for that. It was tens of millions or something. So it's a big project. They've been repairing them piecemeal. I think it's been not very successful. I don't know if anybody's seen that at the end of last summer. They were putting concrete patches in the bluestone and I guess it maybe is more safe, but it kind of looks terrible. So yeah, and the color is completely off and they could dye the concrete to have a better color match. So yeah, those are issues that are on our radar.
We have any?
I would just make one more comment. I think your idea about the issue about wayfinding and naming the areas is great. It's really important because people really don't know where to go when they want to meet people in and around the park.
Yeah.
It's really important. Good idea.
Thank you.
Can we just go online for 1 sec? Anyone online have any questions? No? Okay, staying in the room. Wendy?
Yeah, I just, one of the things that we always look to hear is bathrooms. So I know that's a really difficult situation, but what are you thinking or what are your ideas? Because, we've written so many resolutions asking for more public restrooms, so, yay.
Yeah. I think like that shed area that I was talking about at the Broadway lawn, the northwest side of Tweed. I really think that is an area that could use some more structures, for the parks workers, for the conservancy and volunteers, and possibly a bathroom.
Is
So-
it 2 stories?
Could it be 2 stories?
Yeah.
It could. I mean, we haven't looked at, we haven't gone to that level of seeing what can be, built there, but I think that would be a great location. Could be 2 stories. Yeah.
Yeah, and just like to fit everything in there. That's the
Yeah.
hardest part, but,
I-
because when they put the public bathroom in Washington Square Park, right next to BMCC, all the kids peeing in the corners just stopped. So it was just really great. It would really improve the park tremendously.
Yeah. I think so too.
I'm not sure how, at the time, how did that get finagled, but maybe you can talk to them.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, I will. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I just wanted to second the comment that it is an important and significant place of public assembly and protest. That's gonna happen there, and
needs to be allowed
Yeah.
and space given to it. Doesn't mean that when it's not happening, kids can't play soccer there, but
Yeah.
it's gonna happen.
Multi-use
Yeah.
location.
Absolutely. Totally agree.
Yeah, I don't know, I haven't, when my little boy, was going to go to pre-K before the pandemic, there was a, pre-K program in the Tweed Courthouse.
Mhm.
I don't know if it's still there.
It's still there.
It's still there, and they were gonna use, he was going to start there and then pandemic shut everything down. But they were using the City Hall Park as a playground.
Mhm.
I assume they're still doing it, but they really had no play equipment.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if that would be a possibility for the kids in the pre-K and also maybe for the kids in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Because there's real shortage of play areas for kids in downtown and Fidei. especially.
Totally agree with you. And I think that is a great area for, some sort of natural inspired, nature inspired
Mhm.
play equipment, not, something egregious, but that's a perfect area for
Yeah.
it. And, like in the way that it is now, there's gates that are closed during the school day, and then at 3 PM onwards and on the weekends, that area is supposed to be open to the public. Nobody ever uses it. But I completely agree with you. That is a great area for something like that.
Thanks.
Yeah, I just want to second that notion of better public use of that open space there. And if anything can be done on all the grounds on the east side of the park, of course, much of it is cement and, in front of the subway entrance, but maybe we should at least explore ways to make that area more inviting and usable for the public.
Yeah.
Just,
I don't want to open a can of worms, but I think it's important to ask.
You're gonna do
I'm gonna do it anyway. What was your view, if you had any, on the proposed Deliverista hub?
do you have a short answer for that?
Okay, the short answer is, while we support it in theory, I don't think the location doesn't make sense. It's not near a bike lane, it's just not really, it's not ideal.
Nor
So-
on their toilets, so.
Yeah,
It's a
so,
way station to rest with no toilets, come on.
yeah.
Oh, they are. Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
So I think
what if they're on state, how Mayor Adams likes it? I'm sorry, I don't want it there, but I'm just saying.
maybe there's some, it was kind of a surprise, we didn't know anything about it until, just a few
Yeah.
weeks ago. If there is a way to make it more kind of also usable for the community, I don't know. It sounds like they're pretty far along. Yeah, we don't think the location is good at all. Do my board members want to add anything or no? Okay.
Is there another hand in the room? So just one final comment or thought, and apologies if you're already very familiar with this, but as a board and at the committee level, we undertake an annual process of putting budget requests forward. And this committee has put forward budget requests prioritizing work in City Hall Park. So please make sure that you're feeding that information to us so that we can review and possibly incorporate your needs into that budget request.
Great.
I guess on that same score, have you been able to generate a funding level so far? Do you have sufficient funds to move forward with some of these plans?
Well, we're still starting, we're really starting, now that we were kind of waiting until we became a full 501c3. We wanted to do it properly, do it correctly. So that was just a few months ago, we got that notification from the IRS, so we're kind of diving into that stuff now. We have, this is why collaboration is so key too, is working with the Hort, they have funding from City Council. So this parterre planting that we're doing in May is mostly funded from some City Council funds that had to be used in our district. So it was because of our partnership with the Hort that we're able to access, leverage that. But we We have some funds, but we're definitely, gonna be going gung ho on that this summer to try to find different avenues. Yeah. But we are all set with funds for the parterre, so look for that May 17th. We're gonna be, a few days planting in there.
Great.
And
Any other
Parks
questions?
Department staff is adequate at its level now, and it's not going down?
Well, I mean, no, it's not adequate, but, I will say that the gardener, the Parks Department gardener there, right now, Brandon Grant, has been amazing. He's been there for 2 years. He's a little seasonal, but, when he's there, he's really, really wonderful and has been great to work with. We have really close relationships with Jamal and Trace Flores, but, and then there's the maintenance guys like Lewis, who, is like 70 something and comes every day at 5 a.m. to clean the park. So they are there, but it's a big park. It needs more people. It definitely needs more people. We're all aware of the funding issues, city funding issues, so we don't hold out hopes that they're gonna add more parks employees. But, yeah, it is what it is, which I think is why we think it's important that groups like ours are working in the park.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you for a comprehensive presentation. It's exciting. And again, thanks for everything that you do.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So our second item, the African burial grounds. We're supposed to have Ranger Jim. Is he online? No? Okay. It's going to be a shorter meeting than expected. Is there anything anyone has that they'd like to put forward? If not, we'll call a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Thank you so much.
Okay, Paul, is there anything from your end? It looks like we don't have anything else on.
I'll just tell everyone that we have a lot more items scheduled for May already, so be prepared.
Great.
Shortest
Thanks,
meeting ever.
everyone. Enjoy the nice evening.
Say tomorrow's gonna go, so we're going to the environmental meeting to go for.